All right, so the time has finally come. It's time to talk about how my experience has been without the overclock on my PC. What's up everybody, it's PJ the Great. I hope you're having a super beautiful day. And if you're new here, I do videos just like this as well as ADHD tips. So if that sounds like your jam, consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, what's up great ones? Welcome back. All right, so today I'm finally going to get to the update on overclocking is overrated. Just to give you a little refresher, I was having some issues with the overclock that was on my PC, Baby Blue, running a Ryzen 7 2700. I had it overclocked to 4 gigahertz. If you haven't checked out that video yet, I'll go ahead and leave a link right up here so you can check that out. Basically, the issues I was running into is it was running just fine. I mean, I didn't have any issues with it at all until the day I decided that I wanted to start streaming my gameplay. The minute I tried to start streaming gameplay on Mixer, which is going defunct now, that's when I started getting the blue screens of death. And then I started to think to myself, is overclocking really worth it? So with that thought in mind, I did the unthinkable, for me at least. I set my Ryzen 7 2700 9X to stock settings, and I wanted to run it for a week to see what would the performance be like. Would I miss my 4 gigahertz overclock, and is it overrated or not? So the first thing I noticed that when I did it, I did a couple of tests, of course, in Cinebench and in Geekbench, and the numbers, as you could expect, drastically dropped. I mean, they really dropped. Drop! So I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna worry about that. Those are just benchmarks, right? So the primary thing that I do on Baby Blue is I create content for this channel and for things outside of this channel. So I wanted to see how much of a performance hit I was gonna take in DaVinci Resolve Studio 16. And the hit was, it was there. I mean, it was bad, but not that bad. I mean, to give you an example, it was putting like roughly an extra minute on my export times, which was kind of shocking to me because DaVinci Resolve Studio 16, it actually relies more on the GPU than it does the CPU. So I wasn't expecting a performance hit at all, but there was a performance hit. So I wasn't really happy about that, but the time that I lost wasn't, you know, wasn't comparable to having a stable system again, especially during game streaming, since I really like to stream gaming now. Which is the perfect little segue into gaming. How much of a hit did I take in gaming running at stock? Well, shockingly to me, when I started gaming while streaming, I didn't see a performance hit at all. I was still like getting the frames per second that I was used to getting when I had my 4 gigahertz overclock. So I was like really happy about that. So only taking a hit with video editing, yo, I can deal with that. I can deal with it. But it was short-lived because I was kind of shocked that I wasn't taking a hit. But then one day, I think it was like day 3, I went on to stream, didn't change anything, didn't change the settings in the game, didn't change the settings in my OBS streaming software. All of a sudden, 15 to 20 frame per second hit in the games. And I was like, what's going on? Why did this happen? I didn't touch anything. Why this hit all of a sudden? That was the hit that I was expecting right off the rip, but it didn't happen until a couple of days later. And it was very unfortunate and, needless to say, very frustrating. So I did what any natural overclocker would do, is I got frustrated and I overclocked again. But this time, I took it down 1,000. I decided to overclock the Ryzen 7 2700 to 3.7 gigahertz. Reason why I chose that number is because the Ryzen 7 2700X runs natively at 3.7 gigahertz. And that's what my friend Realmham76 is using in his system, running at stock Ryzen 7 2700X. So I did that and I saw a performance boost, which you would expect. Even in video editing and DaVinci Resolve Studio 16, saw a slight improvement there. Did a Geekbench and a Cinebench, improvements there, but of course nowhere near what I was getting when I was overclocked to 4 gigahertz. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with the 3.7 gigahertz overclock. I was extremely unhappy running it at 3.2 stock because it said it can boost up to 4.1, but that's only on 1 core. I never really saw it get up that high, so running that stock was not my jam at all. So I'm glad that I went back in, overclocked it to 3.7 gigahertz, and everything is fine. The performance is up, and I'm still able to stream gaming without any issues. Now, as I kind of like teased upon at the beginning of the video, as we all know, Mixer is going defunct. So they pretty much sold out. They're going over to Facebook. I'm not going over to Facebook for personal reasons. But yeah, they're out of business, so I'm not streaming anymore. Now, I kind of flirted around with picking up the streaming again on my gaming YouTube channel, which is PJ the Great Gaming, and I'll link it right up here if you want to check it out. It's only 1 video on there, but I'm kind of on the fence if I even want to continue to stream gaming at all. But in the meantime, I've been kind of thinking about going back to 4 gigahertz since I'm not streaming anymore, at least for the time being. But I do see a Ryzen 9 3900X in my foreseeable future, so I think I might just leave it at 3.7 gigahertz and just call it a day. As far as the streaming, I might do it. At the end of the day, the moral of the story is overclocking overrated? I would say no. But it all depends on the end user. If you're somebody like my friend Rumham76, who has never overclocked and never been interested in overclocking, his system is running exactly the way that he wants it to run, even though he too is also considering picking up the Ryzen 9 3900X. But for somebody like me who overclocks, you know, like right out of the gate, doesn't even consider running stock unless it's my HTPC build. If you want to check that out, I'll link it right up here. For somebody who always overclocks, yeah, overclocking is a must, especially if you've always been doing it and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where you can't do it anymore. You're definitely going to notice the performance hit. But if you don't overclock at all and you always run at stock right off the rip, I would say maybe for people like that, yes, overclocking is overrated. And it can be a bit of a headache too, especially if you run into a couple of hiccups down the line. You got to be willing to tinker, and people like myself, tech enthusiasts, we love to tinker. Hey, if you like this video, do me a favor and give it a big old thumbs up. But if you hated it, you can give it a thumbs down. But no matter what you do, don't forget to click that subscribe button and click the bell right next to it so you'll be notified every time I upload new videos. Thank you guys and gals for watching, and before I sign out, I just want to say continue to stay safe out there during this pandemic. It is not over. I know a lot of places like where I'm from in the Vegas Valley area, we're entered into phase 2. Other places might have done the same thing. It does not mean that this pandemic is over, so please still take it seriously. Please still take it seriously and keep yourselves safe. Wear your mask even if you don't want to. Practice the social distancing, 6 feet apart. We all miss our friends, we all miss our family, but we got to do the right thing until they get this thing under control and we're all safe again. So that's all I want to say. And until I see you in the next video, this is PJ the Great saying Audi 5000G. Yes, I like to overclock the things. The CPU, the RAM. I just need to get my feet wet into overclocking GPUs. That's the next thing I want to do. My 2060 Super's running like a charm, but I want to squeeze a little bit more performance out of it.